You are listening to Let's Talk Trio on podcasts. Keep up with the latest episodes by downloading the Podbean app or stream episodes via our social media accounts. Search for Let's Talk Trio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This podcast episode is brought to you by Longsdale Publishing. Is your program seeking ways to assess your students' college readiness? Does your program need a tool to document the effectiveness of your program? Longsdale Publishing is excited to offer the Strategic Learning Assessment, a 20-minute online assessment that provides recommendations and strategies to improve academic performance across 11 learning areas: communication, critical thinking, effective learning strategies, focus and concentration, growth mindset, persistence, seeking help, sense of belonging, stress management, test preparation, and time management. For as little as $3 per student, the Strategic Learning Assessment identifies strengths and areas for growth, along with tailored recommendations for each learning area. Want a complimentary sample account for yourself and 5 students? Contact Longsdale Publishing at 727-389-8026. Again, that number is 727-389-8026. Or visit our website for more information at www.longsdale.com. That website again is www.longsdale.com. Longsdale Publishing, your partner in student success. This episode is sponsored by Student Access. Student Access, the leader in Trio software. Student Access is an online database solution that allows Trio programs to track their students' information, connect with students by text messages, streamline the APR, and work from anywhere, all online, with automatic updates for changes from the Department of Education. Their technical support team includes former Trio staff and has over 50 years of combined experience working with Trio. Make it easier to focus on your priority, the students. For more information and to request a free demo, visit their website at www.studentaccess.com or call them toll-free at 1-800-801-1232. That website again is www.studentaccess.com or 1-800-801-1232. Be sure to share your favorite episodes on your social media by tapping that share button. This is a great way to support the podcast. Now here's your host, Juan Rivas.
Thank you, Amelia, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, listener, and welcome to this episode of Let's Talk Trio. This is Season 7, Episode 24. I am your host, Juan Rivas. Before we begin, some community announcements. As you may know, Trio is under attack. The current administration argues that Trio programs are unnecessary, claiming that college access for low-income, first-generation students is no longer hindered by economic and systemic barriers. We all know that is false, and that Trio services still provide sorely needed opportunities to hundreds of thousands of students nationwide. Action is required in order to protect these vital services. Please contact your members of Congress to let them know that you support Trio, and follow at Protect Trio Now on Instagram to stay up to date with the latest updates and information. North Carolina Central University is hosting their annual Student Access and Success Conference in 2026. Click the link located on the episode description to learn more. In today's episode, we have Jeff Kahlden, who is the Director of Grant Management Services at Dallas College and serves as the Board Chair for the Council for Opportunity in Education. Jeff is a 3-time guest and is on the podcast to share some updates on Trio Advocacy. Coming up in just a bit. Jeff Kahlden. A heartfelt thanks to our individual supporters, Angelica Villalpando, Rosario O'Reilly, Dr. Ryan Barone, Dr. Jamie Motley, Dr. Jeff Naputi, Angelica Valdez, Felicia Rivera, Eric Lamaster, Jeff Kahlden, and Jaded Electronics. Thank you to our corporate sponsors, TrioJoblist.com, Nosotros Education Center, Longsdale Publishing, Student Access, and TheTrioStore.com, powered by Proforma. Visit www.thetriostore.com, your source for Trio graduation stoles. Thank you all so much for your continued support of this podcast. You too can be a sponsor of the podcast. Head on over to Patreon and search for Let's Talk Trio. Choose one of 4 patron levels. You can support this podcast for as little as $1 a month. If you own a business that serves the Trio community and want to sponsor the podcast, we have different sponsorship packages available. Contact us for details. Become a supporter with a one-time donation to the podcast business PayPal account. Our business handle is @Let'sTalkTrio. Your support helps lift Trio voices. If you would like to nominate a participant, staff, or alumni to be in the podcast, send us an email at letstalktrio@gmail.com. That email again is letstalktrio@gmail.com. Again, a great episode featuring Jeff Kahlden, Board Chair for the Council for Opportunity in Education. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. Hi, Trio Nation. It's been a minute since we last had this guest on the podcast. He is back to talk to us about his own updates and sharing his experience as the board chair for the Council for Opportunity in Education, aka COE. We welcome back Jeff Kahlden. Jeff, welcome back.
Thank you, Juan. Thank you for having me again. I think this is my 3rd time.
This is your 3rd appearance, right?
I know. That's a trifecta. I should get a special award or something.
Absolutely. A 3-peat guest. So yeah. It's so good to hear from you. It's been a minute. How have you been?
I'm good. It's now that I've taken on the board chair role, it's been a lot busier and had the opportunity to visit some new regions already and be a part of their conferences and meet a lot of different folks. Obviously what's going on with Trio is ever present right now, as you well know. So there's been a lot of things going on, you might say. So.
Absolutely. And we'll get to that here in a little bit. I can barely believe that we're already hurtling toward 2025. We're recording this episode October 30th, and we're hurtling into November. It's been a busy year. How are you handling it? And what do you think of this state in higher education, in the realm of higher education?
I'm taking it day by day, because it just seems like, at least under this administration, we've had a lot of things that we've never seen before, but then we've also had some things as far as like the attack on Trio is not a new thing, so that part is not new. And I know that as Trio we've been there before with a lot of these things, but some of the ways that they're going about business, I think, has been the most surprising. The state of education, is quite unreal right now, with just the way they want to, remove the Department of Education. But then on top of that, with all the layoffs and the furloughs and maybe they're not fired now, so it's definitely good. People watching and trying to figure out what's going to happen next is very hard to believe, but just how things have been going.
Absolutely. Now, as you pointed out, we had you on last time. You're a 3-peat guest, but you were on here last 4 years ago. At that time, you were the director of the talent search program at Weatherford College. Can you tell the audience what's changed for you since?
Since then, I have taken on a new role at Dallas College. Dallas College is what they call what used to be known as Dallas County Community College District. But now it's recognized as one college with 7 campuses. So I work with, my title is Director of Grant Management Services, but my primary grants that I work with are Trio grants. And I also work with the student success side of our Title V grants that we had, which is Hispanic Serving Institution grants. And so I've worked a lot with, we have 4 student support services, we have 2 Upward Bound, and we have 1 talent search. And so, and we're on, of the 7 campuses, we have representation on 5 of them. So,
Wow.
Yeah. So I do less day to day as far as running Upward Bound, but I still get to dabble and work with students, which has been real fun as far as helping them out in different areas and those things. So, but I mostly work more on the side of, I guess, administration and working with trying to make sure our programs are above board and compliant and all those types of things.
That's magnificent. In the time, you were also awarded the Walter O. Mason Award through COE in September of 2023. This award recognizes extraordinary individuals who have made indelible contributions to the realm of college opportunity programs and the relentless pursuit of educational equity for low-income, first-generation students and those with disabilities. So first off, Jeff, congratulations on that award. Can you talk to us about receiving this award?
Yeah, it was definitely kind of a surprise. I definitely did not have winning the Walter Mason on my bingo card at the time. And it's a tremendous honor because, I mean, you look at some of the names that have come before who've won that award, and there's some giants up there, that have won that award. I mean, obviously the Dr. Mitchums and Maureen Hoylers, but there's been a lot of COE board chairs, at least coming from SWASAP. There's people like Robert Carmouche and Oscar Hernandez and Lucy Jones and all these other folks who really have, helped pave the way for TRIO and continue to keep COE in the forefront. So it was definitely a very cool honor. I got the chance to share the stage with Antonio and Dolores, and so it was very cool and definitely something that is a tremendous honor, and I don't take it lightly because I feel like for them to see that with me and the work we worked with TRIO is a really big deal. So.
Absolutely. And I know you're very, very humble and you're saying a lot of great things, but truly, you've also paved the way for college opportunity for your students. And not only that, but you are continuing on the torch. You're lighting the path for others to continue in that path. So congratulations again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So advocacy for TRIO programs, we were touching on this a little bit, especially now, is important now more than ever. It's been noted that TRIO programs receive bipartisan support. And you said it's unusual that this type of attack on TRIO is very unprecedented, especially coming from this presidential administration. What current efforts are being made to protect TRIO programs?
One thing is that COE has put out their blueprint for the fall, as far as how to reach out to your congressman, to reach out to your Senate. That's been a big part as far as what COE is doing. There's been a lot of community calls. I know that Kim Jones and Diane Schust and the folks that work with COE have been doing a lot of work there. I know that our state leadership folks have been active as far as trying to basically build up any type of connection with our congressmen, even our state leadership. In some states, there's a lot of states that have a lot more push with their congressmen than others just because of just size or locality. But
for sure,
the advocacy doesn't ever stop. So, a lot of congressmen are having call-in or telephone town halls due to security reasons. There's been a lot of issues there, but with
sure.
Congress folks and those, trying to get involved on the telephone calls, or if they're on your campus, or if they're in town and being involved. And then also, during the recent times with how the grant award notifications were taking so long to get out, there was a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, and a lot of folks who really made pushes to make sure that TRIO was getting taken care of, because a lot of colleges and universities, if they don't see that grant award notification, they're saying, well, I don't know if we can move forward or not. There's a lot of, you get a lot of different messages. So,
absolutely.
And then of course right now with the government shutdown, there's there's not as many messages because there's not as many people working per se. So
Right. Right. And approximately about 100 to 120 TRIO programs have closed.
yes,
You are very deep in this TRIO advocacy work. What makes advocacy important, and why should folks engage in advocacy?
I mean, if we don't have advocacy, the Congress, there's the Congress and the folks who we serve don't know about us. So therefore, if we're not out there supporting our programs, if we're not talking and mentioning to our Congress folks, but even on our campuses, our campus has to know what's going on with TRIO, the good especially, and how it affects. There's a ripple effect when it comes to that, as far as advocacy on your campus, advocacy in your community. You know, and you know this, I came from a much more rural background, and a lot of times we were the only education programs out there helping students.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Congress has a lot of things going on. I mean, and when you work with a congressman or their staff member, that staff member might talk to you today about TRIO, and then in 20 minutes they're talking to someone about agriculture, or someone talking about defense spending or healthcare, or numerous things. So you have to kind of keep you might say, keep the iron hot, and also make sure that you're still the squeaky wheel that they're talking to and listening to, and all those things as well. So all those avenues are a big, important thing, in my opinion. And advocacy is, you're speaking up for yourself. I mean, much like we tell our students to advocate for themselves in the classroom, it's the same thing. Those kids have to talk to their teachers, their professors, their advisors. And this is very similar in that aspect, as far as we want to make sure that they know about TRIO, and then why it's important to us, and why it's important that Congress continues to support our programs.
Absolutely. So for TRIO professionals, advocacy is a given. I mean, technically,
Yes.
these are folks who are fighting for their jobs, essentially. In
Yeah,
what other
I mean,
ways? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way you want to say it, for sure. But also, you're fighting for the students who, if we didn't help those kids get through whatever they need, somebody has to help the students. So
Absolutely. I like how you worded that it's not only fighting for their jobs, but also fighting for their students, and that comes to the forefront.
right, yeah, it's more about the students than per se your job. I mean, don't
Mm-hmm.
get me wrong. You want to have a job, and if you don't have a job, it's probably a lot harder to advocate. But
100%.
I mean, it's also one of those cases where, and the results of TRIO have resulted in tons of people who have degrees, who are have better paying jobs, and all those types of things as well.
Absolutely. In what other ways can TRIO professionals engage in advocacy? I know that there's a fine line between when you can advocate for TRIO professionals, and there's also like a good time to advocate. Can you kind of clarify those lines for us?
Well, I mean, one way is just being present at, for instance, the congressman comes to your campus. Just be present. If you have a TRIO Works button, wear it. If you have someone who is, per se, going to Washington, D.C. for, say, student government or something like that, have them wear a TRIO pin, or have them be able to give them some talking points if they were ever to put in that situation. So that's a great way. I know with some of our students who are SSS students, they have the opportunity to go to Washington, and they had the opportunity to not only talk about community colleges and the importance of that, but also the programs that community colleges have on their campuses. And so programs like that is also a way to do it. But promoting the goodwill amongst your campuses, and promoting your TRIO, how TRIO is doing great work on your campus, is another way of advocacy. Because if that vice chancellor or chancellor or someone like that knows about your program, they're going to speak up for you as well, and they're not necessarily going to be, per se, fighting for their job. They want to see, their interest is the students as well as the college or university being successful. And if your university or college isn't producing good students, then they're not going to be recognized as a leader in education. So
Right.
and I think advocacy wise, you do have to walk that fine line. You have to do it on your own time a lot of times as well. that email doesn't need to come from your work address. It needs to come from your Gmail or your Yahoo or whatever. Those phone calls need to be made on your cell phone or your personal house phone if you still have one of those. And, leaving voice messages and things like that, and being, kind of being prepared to give that quick speech to someone in the case if you ever run into those people out in the wild. That's, you want to make sure that you're not doing it per se on company time or while you're per se getting paid to run your grants. And if you can go to policy seminar, that's an awesome opportunity where you can get the chance to really see your government and your politics at work. But obviously we take our vacation days for that, and we follow the rules because that's important to do. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. But that advocacy is huge.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Are you seeking guidance to enhance your TRIO project's effectiveness and success? Look no further. Nosotros Education Center, NEC, is here to empower your TRIO project with expert consulting services. NEC's mission is to promote the effectiveness and impact of TRIO programs. Since 2003, NEC has specialized in providing professional development and in-service staff trainings, allowable cost services, for TRIO projects across the country. The team at NEC, with over 60 years of combined TRIO experience, offers customized workshops and seminars for project staff, compliance assessments, external evaluations, working on and submitting APRs, database customization and training, development of policies and procedures manuals, and project implementation or reorganization services. Additionally, NEC has secured over $774 million in federal funding with a 92% success rate through their live and on-demand proposal workshops, assistance with data collection and review, detailed technical reviews, and comprehensive proposal development services. Join the hundreds of colleges, agencies, and TRIO projects across the country who benefited from NEC's expertise. Nosotros Education Center, your partner in TRIO's project success. Visit their website at nosotros.edu.org. Again, that's nosotros.edu.org.
And now, back to the podcast. You talked about the TRIO professional. I want to get your aspect and your lens on the average Joe, the person who is, kind of the observer from the outside, not necessarily involved in TRIO, but maybe they feel pretty strongly about TRIO. Maybe they have a family member participating in TRIO, or maybe they just know TRIO a little on the outside and understand that it's an important program. How can they advocate?
Well, I can give an example. I had a counselor at a high school who she saw the results of Upper Bound and Talent Search, and when it came time, when she saw some postings on social media, and she said, "How can I help?" And I said, "Well, you can send a message to congressmen, and let them know that, hey, this program's in my high school. Not only are they helping these students, they're also helping students outside of the program because there are linked to the college or the university or whatever." And of course, family members, they're also seeing the results because sometimes, Johnny or Susie or whoever goes to college. Well, a lot of times mom and dad see, hey, I can go back to school too and get a certification and get a better paying job, which when you're talking to congressmen, if you start saying, hey, this better paying job means I'm going to pay higher taxes, therefore they like higher taxes because they want to, and you have a better workforce. You have there's a lot of investment in college education where these people they're better paid. They're also less likely to take out as much health insurance issues. There's a lot of things that are tied, and studies show it as far as education and how that works. So, but family members, school staff, business folks, all these folks, as far as, spreading the message of what TRIO does and how it's helped these students and these people is really, all part of our advocacy efforts as well, because, people in your church, people in your social settings, and you never know who is connected to who, which is also key in my opinion, because we always tell the students, you never know who's listening or you never know who's in the room, and that networking and that ability to talk to someone and go, hey, oh, by the way, such and such is my cousin or my uncle, or they used to work here, and so that sometimes helps as well, because that bends the ear of somebody who does vote for additional funding or anything like that.
And Jeff, a while, this was ages ago when I first started in TRIO a long, long time ago. I assumed that the state organizations was the only kind of state representation that TRIO professionals got or that did any sort of advocacy. But then I learned about SWASAP, the Southwest Association for Student Assistance Programs, and their larger outreach. How can TRIO professionals get connected with their state and regional associations if they're not aware of them, or let's say they didn't know that these state and regional associations existed?
Yeah. So as far as in the United States and its territories, there are 10 regional associations. SWASAP that you mentioned, that I know you were a former member of, they were the first one to combine and to work together and to start an association, and soon then the other 10 regions, or the other 9 regions, soon fell together and worked together. And so, but each region generally has what they call chapters or state groups. So like in Texas, you have Texas TRIO Association. You're formerly with New Mexico, which is now New Mexico TRIO. I know back in the day it was New Mexico West Texas TRIO. And so, each region has a state, or in some cases, like California has 3 chapters. They have a North Cal, a CenCal, and a SoCal as far as their chapters. Some regions like EOA, which is the Midwest, instead of having just a Kansas chapter, they have MoKan-E, which is Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska. So, each region kind of has their own flavor, you might say. But it also depends sometimes on how many programs are in their state and how they work together. But each region typically has a state chapters, and then depending on how big the states are, being from Texas, we break it down even further, where we have North Zone and South Zone, and then from there we do alliances, which are each, like, say I'm a part of the DFW region, so we're the DFW Alliance. There's a Houston Alliance, there is a Central Texas Alliance, there's a South Plains. So there's a lot of different alliances as far as within the states. And so, but a lot of places do have regions or states, or, they break it down into their different terminology, but each place, and really all you have to do is go to the COE website, so coenet.org, and they have the regions, and then they have the website to go to there. And really, you just have to reach out. I mean, you can just send an email and say, or if you might say, hey, I know someone at this place, or I know someone here, you can send an email, you can make a phone call. If they do snail mail, you can send a nice letter or a card, maybe a nice homing pigeon, something like that. I don't know. So, but that's how you really get going. And for me, a long time ago, when I first started working in TRIO, my then supervisor was she was one of my supervisors, was our president of the Texas TRIO Association, and I kind of got baptized by fire, because she's like, you're going with us, and this is what TRIO is, and all those types of things. So, but so that was a long time ago at this point. So, but yeah,
nothing like trial by fire.
yeah. So, but I mean, and there's been a lot of relationships built from that, and so, and that's also part of it. If you have a question, I know there's Facebook groups out there that are amongst TRIO folks, and there's also those types of things. So if you need a mentor, you need someone to talk to, there's plenty of people out here to help you get involved, or help you maybe with talking with your administration about you getting involved. or anything like that.
Absolutely. So your role as board chair means that you represent programs that support TRIO. Can you dive a bit more into this role and what it means?
So as COE board chair, we are the national organization as far as the board of directors. So each region has 3 representatives that represent each region. So SWASEP has 3, WestTop has 3, and so on. And then and those are our voting members of our board of directors. You also have an executive board. So currently the board chair-elect is Ray Cabrera from Florida. The past board chair is Mara Luna from Puerto Rico. Our secretary now is Jaime Rivera. I'm trying to remember if I got the last name right or not. If I didn't, I'm sorry. But he's our secretary, and our treasurer is Leo Conaway from Pennsylvania. So the board is comprised of practitioners who have been elected by their regions, and what we do a lot of times is help guide COE in their mission. So we have various committees as far as there's obviously a government relations committee, which we're all a part of, but we also have alumni. We also have state leadership. We have resource development and other different committees that are meant to help build and work coincide with COE staff, professional staff like Jen Rudolph and Woody and those folks, and how we help guide the direction for our region, our national efforts, as well as our region, and then also with all the way down to our state leadership as well. So there's a lot of times when we are, per se, like right now, a lot of our conversations are tied around education, administration, as well as government relations. But then there's other times when it's like, okay, we just came off of the Executive Leadership Institute that was hosted in Kansas, at the University of Kansas, and that was all about developing future state leaders who are, per se, in some cases, they're the president-elects for their state association, or they're a rising leader amongst their state that COE is pouring into a lot of information to try to grow and kind of prepare them to say, hey, we see you as a state leader. We want to grow you to a regional leader and maybe even eventually a national leader. Similar to SWASEP, Eli, which I know you were a part of back in the day. But I would say this is a lot more push towards professional. You're in a leadership role now. Here's what we think you should do, and also kind of get them ready for the efforts that maybe a national position or at least a regional position might hold for them.
That's wonderful. So it sounds like a lot of shaping into leadership, and then the board chair really taking that leadership and ensuring that not only programs are being compliant, as you said earlier in the podcast, but also seeing ways that are identifying future leaders.
Yeah, and a lot of that, and then also just a lot of, as board chair, I have the opportunity to kind of spread the message at the different regions and talk a little bit more about what we're doing from the practitioner side, and not as much from the professional, what the COE side, because COE is our eyes and ears with the Department of Education, their eyes and ears with government relations. My role is probably a little bit, obviously I'm involved, but there are some things that I'm probably not in the day-to-day mix that COE is. But there are those things that I feel like I can try to speak from it as a former coordinator and a former part-time person working in TRIO, that to try to really bring that message to say that anybody can be involved with this, not just someone who is in leadership per se. That person who works as an advisor, who sees that student go from a kid who maybe was a bit troubled or had troubles with school to end up going to a school like the top university in their state, or even maybe bigger like Ivy League or whatever.
Absolutely. Alumni are also an important piece of this puzzle for advocacy. You're an alumni, I'm an alumni. I think the alumni network continues to grow.
What is COE currently doing to bring in more alumni to advocate for TRIO?
So one of the things that's been one of the big pushes for me as COE board chair is that we want to grow our alumni. We want to grow our alumni as far as our numbers as well as their involvement. So, for instance, we want to grow the alumni as far as, say, for instance, if you were an upward bound class and you had, say, 15 people in your class that were seniors and you graduate, and you still stay in touch with 5 to 10 of them, we want you to say, hey, we want you to join the National TRIO Alumni Association, because as a TRIO alum, you're living proof of the fact that that TRIO works. You know, that you have a job as a police officer, a fireman, a teacher, a coach. Maybe you work in TRIO. One of the biggest goals that I've kind of set forth with our alumni is that we want to grow the alumni to where when we want to grow these chapters outside of DC. So in the metropolitan areas, like say Denver, we want to grow where we have these TRIO folks that are active. And maybe, you know, each chapter per se can grow. And I know that Tommy's working with ambassadors to try to grow our reach as well as what each area does, because we have alumni who are working in a variety of places. And we also need those alumni to maybe post something on social media. Maybe they make a phone call just like we do to the Congress folks. Perhaps maybe I know this year we had an alum who donated towards hosting the COE conference. So,
oh wow,
you never know what, you know, or maybe there's people out there that have access to philanthropy funds that can help scholarships or help with providing a TRIO student with international access to go on an international study abroad trip. So the opportunities are endless, but we have to reach out to those folks. And part of it is, you know, some students, and I'm guilty of this, is like our students know that we were in Upward Bound, but they didn't realize that TRIO and Upward Bound are the same thing. So it's also trying to make sure that, you know, to reach out to those folks and say, hey, you know, that you're a part of Upward Bound. This is a part of TRIO, or you're a part of TRIO SSS or EOC or Veterans Upward Bound. So, you know, we want to get that involvement to where this is part of their regular, you know, because when you graduated from your college or university, who's one of the first people that reach out to you after you graduate? The Alumni Association, because they want to continue to grow financially, but also keep you involved, because an involved alum oftentimes will provide sweat equity or an opportunity for they want to provide opportunities for someone coming next. And that's exactly what growing our alumni association and growing our alumni contacts is doing.
Absolutely. Jeff, any last thoughts as we wrap up this podcast session?
You know, I think one of the big things that I'd like to relay to anyone who's listening is that, you know, we as TRIO folks have to continue to be positive. We have to work with our Congress folks. We have to work with COE. We have to work with our students, our universities, our colleges, our target schools, our target areas, whether they, you know, whoever that might be. We have to continue to, you know, I don't want to say it's all going to be sunshines, rainbows, and unicorns, but we definitely have to say, we have to put the positive on it. And this is going to be a long game. This is not a short answer. You know, right. We have to take the ups and downs, and we have to celebrate the ups. You know, one of the things that I mentioned last week when I was in NAIP is that, you know, celebrate the fact that McNair got their GANs, because at one time there was talks of no more McNair.
Oh, yes.
So I mean, this is a celebration. This is a positive. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a big fan of the fact that we had over almost 120 grants canceled, and COE is fighting that. But, you know, those are some things that we have to take the good and the bad, but we also have to keep the fight going. And that's the part is stay positive with what we have moving forward, because we're going to need an army to continue this growth. I mean, and you can do a lot of different things, and it's really, it's one of those things that helping get the word out, helping get your alumni to participate, to send emails, to make phone calls. If they happen to be in DC, stop by the congressional's office, or even your local office, your different centers. Each congressman generally has an office or two in their district. So, and make sure that they know who you are. And that's the big thing but we have to be positive. We have to keep pushing. And we have to remember that TRIO's been around a long time. And if the Department of Education does go away, TRIO's older than the Department of Education. So we have a lot of things going for us, a lot of bipartisanship. Republican, Democrat, Independent, those, everyone has a part in this, and it's about helping our students. Like Dr. Mitchell said, there's no permanent friends, only permanent issues. And so, we have to obviously push for more money. We also have to push to continue to get our programs and help our students, and then celebrate our students. Celebrate the fact that we have graduates and that we have people who are making a difference in the world, and not just locally, but, across the nation and even in other countries. So, those are I think we have to keep the positive. We have to keep building our army, and we have to keep up the good work that TRIO does do for our students and for our universities and campuses and our communities.
Absolutely. Jeff, I hate to put you on the spot, but
You're
is there a
good.
quote you would like to share with the audience, that you either a motto or quote or just a statement that you live by and that pushes you forward?
You did put me on the spot.
Sorry about that.
I feel like it's one of those things that I feel like you never know who's in the room with you unless you're talking to someone. And so part of that is making sure you talk to people, as well as, there's I think it was Winston Churchill. It says, never give up, and you always have to keep fighting for things, and everyone's passionate about different things, not only, we're all passionate not only about for TRIO as far as the folks who listen to us, but, we're passionate about equity and education. We're positive, there's a lot of things there. So, never give up and keep fighting is probably the two things that I look at. And then also just the fact that you never know who's listening, who's watching, and you want to make sure that you are positive about what we have. And then also, you got to pour into the students, and that's also part of it too.
Wonderful. Jeff, board chair for the Council for Opportunity in Education, thank you so much for giving us a bit of your evening today.
You bet. Thank you so much for having me.
Are you a participant, alum, or staff of a TRIO program? Do you want your program highlighted? You or your program could be featured in an upcoming episode of Let's Talk TRIO. Get a hold of us by going to our Facebook page or Instagram and send us a direct message. Search for Let's Talk TRIO. We want to get your story to the public.
You just heard from our guest, Jeff Kahlden, Board Chair of the Council for Opportunity in Education. Thank you, Jeff, for being on the podcast and for sharing those updates. Remember, if you would like to be on the Let's Talk TRIO podcast or know a staff, advocate, participant, or alumni, send us an email at letstalktrio@gmail.com. That email again is letstalktrio@gmail.com. A heartfelt thanks to our individual supporters, Angelica Villalpando, Dr. Jamie Motley, Dr. Ryan Barone, Dr. Jeff Naputi, Angelica Valdez, Rosario Riley, Felicia Rivera, Eric Lamaster, Jeff Kahlden, and Jaded Electronics. Thank you to our corporate sponsors, TrioJoblist.com, Nosotros Education Center, Longsdale Publishing, Student Access, and TheTrioStore.com, powered by Proforma. Visit www.thetriostore.com, your source for TRIO graduation stoles. Thank you all so much for your continued support. of this podcast. You too can sponsor the Let's Talk Trio podcast in one of three ways. Become a monthly patron on Patreon. Our base level starts at $1 a month. Become a corporate sponsor by placing an ad on the podcast. Contact us for details. Become a supporter with a one-time donation to the podcast business PayPal account. Our business handle is @Let'sTalkTrio. I'd like to take a moment to thank our honorary members of Let's Talk Trio podcast, Roderick Chambers, Tony Ho, Scott Kendall, and Susan Cramp. The Let's Talk Trio podcast team is John Russell, audio engineer, music producer, performer and composer, and post-production editor. Amelia Castañeda, script supervisor, marketing manager, social media manager, and producer. Juan Rivas, executive producer and host. Be sure to follow Let's Talk Trio podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. This episode was recorded Thursday, October 30th, 2025. Thank you all so much for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode.